Hello there, and welcome back to episode 11 of the final Sect. Today, we will explore the world, probably get ourselves our third cultivator, and I'm not quite sure what will happen in between because there's always a random element of surprise in here. So, first things first, I really want to check out if the festive goods are still bugged or not. Last time I tried that, the chest just didn't disappear. So this would lead to me being able to endlessly replicate these things. Yinji is currently out in the world hunting beasts and loot, and we're going to continue that venue today as well. And we're going to make this fine lady into a talisman crafter. So if everything works out as intended, we will see a lot of cool talismans popping up here today as well. So yeah, it's totally bugged. I can successfully open these chests as often as I want. This is, well, let's try to smelt it. That's actually destruction of items. Because, I really don't want to cheat. It's boring to cheat. Boom. So let's make that chest go away. I have already used it, game. Please. Alright. So, our man Yinji is sitting at Mount Baron. I'm going to let him sit at Mount Baron until a adventure happens. In the past, I have quite often spent time at Mount Baron with cultivators because they are really, really powerful. So, oh, sorry, I got distracted because I need. God, jeez, these sudden pop-ups sometimes really mess up my wording. I like to keep cultivators there because you can quick harvest cotton there. Considering how much fabric I need, that's a wonderful little thing that you can pull off there. So we're waiting for Yinji until he's done with that, and I really need to make one thing sure. We will make only two cooks happen here. All right. These fires in the kitchen, they are only happening because they are people cooking who shouldn't be cooking. It's the bottom line there. All right. So she's doing her foundation training constantly now, which is really exactly what I wanted to have. Riverback City. Okay. Wow, why is Yinji taking so long until he's looting something? Weird. But whatever. Oh yeah, and I figured we need a new agency. Totally forgot about that. A really quick pointer towards Patreon, PayPal, and Buy Me a Coffee at this point. I know advertisement sucks, but it is a necessary evil at that point. I can really use any help that I can get, and I'd be delighted if you check these out. They are the best ways to support this channel because there is almost no fees being deducted from these, and that's why I like them. So, that's all I had to say. Let's check out where we're going. So I think I'm going to found my next agency at the Central Plain because we can harvest brownstone there. Brownstone is a very important thing. Was it this one? Because we need that stuff for so many different things. I'll explain it in a second before I forget the name of this person again. Let's call that the Stone Shrine so I don't have to think about it too much. Give this fine lady 1,000 Spirit Stones so she has a chance to allocate a nice followership. And yeah, now to the point that I wanted to talk about. So you can upgrade these agencies over the course of the time, and this requires a pretty substantial amount of brownstone. Also wood, also influence, but brownstone. Therefore, it is totally paying off to get yourself a nice stockpile of these. So I like to go for agencies in that regard, because even if you have a lot of stuff on your map that you can harvest and mine, it is still a really, really huge ordeal to get that brownstone in these masses. And most of the time, I don't know, I haven't had the feeling as if I was even remotely capable of producing so much resource on my native map compared to the agencies. It's just paling in comparison. So I really don't know what the hell's wrong with Yin right now. We're letting him enter Bound Baron. I've waited long enough. It's not that important. We are growing the cotton by ourselves, so that is totally okay. Alright, so today, of course, we're going to go for the exploration of this place, and I'll try the same tricks as before. There's a bunny demon. I consider myself lucky, because these are among the weakest. So we're going to scout the border of the map, and then we are going to explore the rest from that. So bunny demons are usually lower in their total amount of chi, therefore you can't finish them off much faster than the monsters we faced last time. Yinji still is very weak. He will require a lot of artifact laws, and considering everything that I saw, I probably didn't go for a good decision there to make him my fighter type, because he seems to be counteracting a lot of the artifact law skills. So in case that doesn't make sense for you, basically he requires way more experience points than anybody else to learn combat skills. That's the simpler explanation of what the issue is. But for starters, it's totally sufficient. I hope that I'll be able to get him 1 or 2 new skills over the time. So if I get him to an attack power somewhere between 500 and 1000, we're totally fine. I don't need that much more. Not for map exploration, that is. Because these demon beasts that we're facing here, they are the normal enemies. You won't be seeing that much variance here anymore. These are the typical map enemies. I don't even know if there's any other type of enemy in the game, in all honesty. Except for other cultivators, of course, but you know what I mean. Alright. Doggo tanking, that's really good. By the way, if ever you notice that your cultivator's being attacked and you don't want that, there's a simple trick. This button, which is now grayed out, will be translucent then, and you can then use this button to flee out of the fight. You gotta do this and attack the demon beast with your dog in the meantime, until your cultivator is no longer being attacked. The moment the demon beast switches off from your cultivator chasing him, that moment on, you are well off to just turn and attack. So the stone essence is the stuff I came for. It has rock element and it's a chi gatherer. It's not as powerful as spirit wood in terms of range, but it is exactly as powerful in terms of chi gathering capacity, and that was a really, really juicy chunk. Stone essence is normally found while mining, and if you happen to have a lot of opportunities to mine on your map, you can't find that stuff in sufficient amounts there by yourself. Because as you might have noticed, the demon beast there, yeah, it's always there. And that means if you want that stuff, you gotta be capable to beat down this enemy. Otherwise, it's much harder to acquire that. So let's use the flying trick. I'm pausing the game to keep Yinji in the air. Luckily, he ain't that fast yet. When your cultivators have a lot of flying speed, this becomes more and more difficult because they start to soar later down the road, even under normal speed. Their bodily capabilities grow far beyond mortal means, and you really notice that over time. Alright, sadly, the cotton growing here is only decoration. I wish I could pick up some of that. But this place is one of the more annoying places. But, yeah, well, we can pluck some jade and some cotton. The fun part here is these things in the stockpile are just like in Nanping Village, always available. So you could totally avoid planting cotton by just harvesting the stuff here. It's not exactly a power strategy or anything, but it is there if you happen to need it. So, There's Yinji back. And let's check. He's a wood cultivator, so what kind... We would need a fire room for him. We would need... Wait a sec. No, we would need a water room for him. Water rooms are really, really difficult to create, in my experience. Wait a sec. Am I wrong in that regard? No. Metal requires stone. Fire requires wood. Yeah. Wood cultivation laws are therefore among the hardest for beginners, because water rooms and fire rooms are really the hardest to gear out in terms of chi allocators, because all these chi gathering items will set the world either on fire or freeze it. So it's a bit of a complicated thing at first, but it really eases up as the more materials you have available for yourself. So, another visit to Nanping Village, because I want to explore that place thoroughly as well. I mean, it did pay off after all. With the earthen items that we got, we could now staff out a metal cultivator's chi array. We don't have any metal cultivators in the making, but, well... Speaking about cultivators in the making, I think we really need another cultivation array for cultivator number 3. Should be already up and running way before the cultivators actually needing it, you know? So it was 3 or 4 pedestals? 3. Wait a sec. Yeah, whatever. Material is that important for the pedestals, because I have newly learned that the material, the display itself just neutralizes that effect. Alright, we gotta wait until they have cut more spirit stones, that's for sure. And... Alright, another earthquake. Currently we're not hunting any world events. Most of the time I did regret that, sadly. So, 26 pieces of beast blood. My readout tells me that this room is already 31 degrees hot. Every other room is pretty at 0 degree. This stuff, the more we have of it, the hotter it grows. But at the same time, you can make more powerful talismans out of that. That's why I keep harvesting that stuff to no end. It's a pretty nice resource. If you don't need the talisman paper anymore that you can craft out of it, it's still useful, because you can then sell it to the traders, because it's one of the more valuable materials that you can sell. So it's always worth your time to kill off demon beasts. It's one thing I really like. The demon beasts, they grow into a chore after a while. You know, smacking them down is not exactly any big challenge anymore at some point. But the payoff is always there. Especially when your cultivators grow more powerful, and it's becoming more and more easy to kill these guys. You really notice the difference. Right now we're struggling. I mean, I wouldn't even dare to attack a beast now with substantially more than 10,000 chi, because I'm a little bit doubtful that we can kill it fast enough. But whatever. Things that we got here are not too high quality as of yet. My cat just opened the door. She can't do that by herself. She just jumps on the door handle and opens that. It's amazing. It's equally amazing as it is annoying. Alright, so the environments of Nanping Village so far seem absolutely boring and uninteresting. But I gotta be careful, because I don't want to accidentally bumble into something that I cannot tank. Yinji is just not capable of tanking anything. Fun part here is, though, well, I think in these maps there's nothing. I mean, I keep searching here just because of the good habit, but later I have found such valuable items by just being diligent while exploring these maps. Yeah, so Nanping Village is actually empty. Alright, no biggie. We're always happy about some boar. There's always some boardie to pick up. And let's see if we can invite a new social new social person here. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I need still so many more abbots. And yeah, alright, that's the problem. You see, Yankei is a person I already have in my sect, because that's a weird bug. If you happen to invite these people to your sect, they don't get deleted from the map. Technically, I think you could print copies of people. Let me know in the comment section if that's really how it's working. I always hesitated from that, because it weirded me out too hard. Way too hard. Alright, but you might or might not have noticed, how fast Yinji by now is traveling here. He's really quickly back from his adventures here around this place, and that's because he's a golden core now. Alright, so we're going to start to explore Mount Nalumbo. So here we enter a completely new venue of gameplay. So here we're sending this guy to explore 20 times, and to explain to you what I'm doing here. Mount Nalumbo has here 0% tag. This means that we haven't explored this place at all. If we check out Mount South, it has 100% tag. All these little places around Mount South are basically uncovered because of the 100% tag there. In other words, Mount Nalumbo has so many locations around it that we haven't discovered yet. That's true for all of the places here. So, what's up with you? Oh yeah, you are another cultivator. We're not recruiting other cultivators. Give them spirit stones. Yeah, that's nice. The more starting people you have in your no, what's it called? In your agency, the better. It's just that simple. If the amount of people is high from the get-go, they grow faster as well, and that's a really, really good thing. So, let's make this a shiny, fancy place once more. There goes a door. There goes a bed. I think I made it a little bit more confined than the others. Yeah, whatever. That's the price when you're not the main character. Alright. So, unlike before, Yinji will now be pedaling back and forth between the Sect and his adventure target. Alright. So, let's see. Stuff here is growing really nicely. Lingji, ginseng, and all these things are valuable as cultivation fuel. Can't put it to different words. So I'm going to delete the festive goods chests here, because I have opened 3 chests already, and that's why I'm smelting them. I don't like cheating. At least not bug exploiting. Alright. So, here, visiting the mountain school. Always go for the visit, don't sneak in. Very dangerous, and we're gaining some favor there. And we did explore a little bit. And now, we have to repeat that until we have uncovered the new locations. Before that, we cannot do much. Alright, so let's see. Chi-E, she's starting to get somewhere. And, well, when it comes down to Nian Shuang, we can do one thing. We can send her training from time to time. This increases her inspiration XP. So we can also press Shift E, because we have the Elysium mod installed. So we want to be above 60, and there we go. And I want her to practice. There we go. So Elysium mod will now automatically send her into mind training as soon as her happiness drops below 60, if I remember correctly. Wait a sec. Did I order the wrong thing? Because she's not gathering. So, do I need to mark this or that, the other thing? I think it must be practice, but she seems to be developing more experience here again. I'm a little bit, frankly said, confused, but whatever. The goal here is... Oh, now she's gathering inspiration. Just had a wrong look there. The goal here is to make sure that she's gathering experience while she's just twiddling her thumbs here. It'll still take a while until Mount South has produced enough faith to give her any substantial increases. And with her current situation, I think it's one of the best things that I can do, to just wait for her experience to grow. And we're also collecting Ganoderma. Ganoderma is the powered up version of Lingji, and it's very, very valuable. It's one of those resources that you totally want to get when you're out in that area. Because there's food stuff in this game, which allows your maximum chi to increase. Basically, it's like increasing your inner powers with certain substances that make you more powerful. Can't put into different words here, it is as it is. So, in a nutshell, you want to collect as many of these materials as possible. That's why this is a really, really good find. There is... Together with these, the most common things that you can find are Ganoderma. Then there's also red ginseng. That's a variant of the regular ginseng. And there's earth flux. These three materials are the most common materials that you will sip in to increase the maximum chi of your cultivators. They are massively sought after when you go for the golden core breakthroughs. They are among the most important materials that you will require for that. And the bonus thing here is, sometimes when you're growing ginseng and lingji, it can be that you get lucky and it's red ginseng or a Ganoderma actually growing there. There it is. So, oh, my mods even actually show me how much of an increase it'll give. So this stuff gives you plus 100 max chi. And as you see here, there's also the tooltip that if it's tier 12, it would give you triple the amount. We are currently nowhere near close to the point where we could produce that stuff for ourselves. I mean, the tier 12s. But it is still very, very beneficial to give that stuff to our cultivators. So... sec, I think it was here. So there is a stat called medicine resistance. So that means we're yielding how it's called again, diminishing returns. That means the next piece of Ganoderma that we're going to eat will be less powerful than the one before. Where did it go? As a rule of thumb, 3 pieces of that stuff should be nibbled without a second thought by your cultivators there. Where's my... Jeez, totally blind for a moment there. Lol. So, holding down left shift to issue that order repeatedly. And as you see here, a tiny sliver is changing there. And one very important note, some things can actually kill your cultivator when you are eating them. Especially when it's containing more chi than they can actually carry on themselves. This is something that instantaneously blows up people. So always double check if the person is actually powerful enough to nibble the stuff that you want to give them, alright? Very, very important. Well, I once fed a small guy a sun pearl and immediately blew him up with that. Inner wounds that were beyond saving. Some of these things are just not meant to be eaten by small-scale cultivators. So, Let's see. Yeah, that's really, really powerful to give her a little bit more experience here. And GE, well, you know what? She can actually... I did see something. We got Lingji as well. So Lingji is also something you can use to boost up the foundation process. It's basically the less magical version of the Ganoderma. That's why it works for outer disciples as well. Inner disciples won't notice much from that stuff if they eat it, but for her, it was just that little thing she required to push herself over the edge. So, primordial symbols law. She has only a 72% fit to that. Oh, well, it's not that much of a big deal in all honesty. For one, there are many, many skills you can learn that will increase her perception or her intelligence. So currently she's a bad fit stat-wise, but that can and will change. The other thing here is I train her... Wait a sec. Yeah. But on the other hand, she is meant to be the cultivator for the talismans, you know? I don't even have any interest in training her into anything else. Her main power is supposed to be somewhere else. Okay, so Central Plain has been founded, so we're going to put up one field. Let's see, and the rest will all be mines. I don't want to harvest wood here. We want the mines. And when you upgrade the guild hall, you can also build more buildings in these agencies. Also very, very important. All right. So our venture now only needs a place where we can harvest wood in larger amounts. Mount South is just a small time provider, and we actually managed to get ourselves through all of the materials that we had. So, hey, that's not supposed to be demolished. So we're going to get rid of a couple of trees here, you know. And let's see how ominous this room went. So it's just basic ominous. Let's see. These are in a happy state. So we need to change that. Wood gets countered by metal. So let's see if we put up a metal building, a metal feng shui building. That's very important. Let's see what that'll do. This should be absolutely horrible to have something wooden and something metal right next to each other. But as a matter of fact, I'm wrong. So they are actually good to each other. It's sometimes harder to make something bad than something wrong. Whatever. Okay, so this happens to me all the time. So earth is good for metal. Yeah, that's why. These walls are not supposed to be earth. These walls need to be wood. Can we overwrite that? I think this was something the game wasn't able to. But I think it looks as if it is now. So let's see if that works. I'm so amused by it because I remember whenever I want to do something like that, it's always the same old story. I end up being confused, and we're going to keep this guy because he's quite a social talent. I end up being confused and doing it wrong in the first place. My first hell gates tend to be heaven gates also. So, Evenfall, Abode Disciples, we're talking with them a bit. And we haven't found anything yet so far in the Mountain Lumbo neighborhood. Very sad. Very, very sad about that. Okay, Chi, she's getting herself together. Oh, look at that. Her room is already done. We're fast. So, since she has a neutral a neutral element, we can totally play around that. So we're going to use the Jade Essence. Jade Essence is the powered up version of Stone Essence. And here now it is important. This stuff has only a range of 3. So 1, 2, 3. So that means we can build these slots. Then you always have to count from the cushion. 1, 2, 3. So these guys also. And then 1, 2, 3. And then you are already 1, 2, 3, 4. So all of these areas here and out there have to be filled with other materials. Spirit wood is a really good filler here because it is just available and it has a high range. And the most important thing to note is it doesn't bother any cultivator, no matter his element, if there's few scraps of spirit wood far away from him. Because here's the funny thing, at beginning from range 4, as far as I know, please correct me where I stand wrong, beginning from range 4, the element doesn't matter anymore. The element doesn't influence your breakthroughs anymore, because it's too far away from your cultivation spot. At least that's what I know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, and I'm all ears to hear more from you, friends. You guys were able to teach me so many new things. It's always nice to learn new tricks as an old dog. So, therefore, we are now going to place the spirit wood we just bought on the remaining display shelves. I hope that was enough spirit wood. There goes. Alright. So, until the walls are done, this ain't a room at all. It's okay. Spirit stone offcuts are not made yet. Pretty annoying. And I'll be ending today's episode here because I think we've made some nice progress. We have a new cultivator, we have a new cultivation circle, and I'm really, really happy about the progress we've made. So, feel free to drop me your comments. I have asked a couple of questions, I have left a couple of explanations, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Feel free also to leave a thumbs up or a subscription, and of course check out the Let's Play channel of mine. There's a link down there in the topmost comment. Once it hits 1,000 subscribers, there will be much more gameplay content from my side. Until then, have a wonderful time, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.